Hello, I just want to show you how to open Google Earth, okay, the proper way. So I'm going to open up a new tab, okay, in Google Chrome, and I'm going to type Google Earth in the search bar, not Google Maps. It's very easy to go to Google Maps, so I want you to go to Google Earth, okay. Click on Google Earth, and just like other apps now, it'll open within Google Chrome. So then you get this screen here, it looks really lovely with a nice cityscapes and landscapes, and we press Launch Earth. Now this is different to Google Maps. I want you to use Google Earth because Google Earth is a proper GIS, a Geographical Information System. So just as this loads up, a GIS is a mapping on the computer where we can put on different layers. Not all maps are the same. People make maps for different reasons, okay? And you can make your own maps on Google Earth. So I'm going to show you just how to do that. Google Earth has just loaded up. You can actually see behind me another type of map. There's the biomes or ecosystems of the world on that map. It's not of countries, but you can see on the screen here we have a zoomed in map of satellite imagery on the UK. Now on top of this satellite imagery, we have locations. These are just points on the map: Southampton, Brighton, London, Cork, okay? We'll go over to Bahrain, so it's a little bit more close to home. So I'm just going to zoom in on Bahrain, okay? Right. Now, so there's only two layers now on this map. Okay, we've got place labels and satellite imagery. But what we can do is we can click on this one here, which is assigned for layers. Okay, and we can do custom, but clean, no labels. It's just a satellite imagery. Okay, so we can't see any data here. We can just see the photos that have been taken from planes. I just want to make the point here that these photos are taken from planes, and if I zoom out, because you can see here the sea and you can see details of boats. If I zoom out, we can see this isn't a photo taken from a plane because the sea isn't even the right color. And if I zoom out further and further, all that blue for the sea there actually becomes most of the image. And now these are photos taken from satellites that are not color accurate. So these photos are taken from satellites, but as we zoom in, we will then see the photos taken by planes, because they have to be close to the ground to get this level of detail. Okay. Now, to add other labels, we can change it to exploration, and we get place names. So there we've got University of Bahrain campus, Islamabad housing. Okay. If we go for everything, our map gets a bit cluttered, and we've got some bus stops. We've got the roads on there. Different things will appear and disappear with each zoom level to make sure it's not too cluttered, but we'll have the shops labeled on here, obviously the airport's up there, okay? And if I zoom in, I should see more. We've got a hospital, a cemetery marked there, and places to eat and drink, supermarkets, okay? So different levels of zoom will give us different amounts of information. Now what I want you to do is I want you to click on custom, and I want you to, if you put clouds on, it can be quite annoying if you zoom out. Should be able to see clouds there if it loads. Oh, it's just taking ages to load. This was a mistake. There we go, there are clouds. Okay, no clouds over Bahrain though. I'm going to turn that off because that's just going to slow us down. Right, here we have all the different borders and labels. Now I don't want localities. What we're looking at this lesson is countries, continents and oceans. So turn on countries. Okay, suddenly we have all the names for countries pop up, and we also have the borders. Okay, we can see these white lines are the borders between countries. Now what this doesn't have is the border of continents, okay, because there is no fixed border. And I'll show you a good example of this. So Egypt is very much considered part of the Middle East, yet is quite clearly on the African continent. Here's the continental boundary, and so Egypt is on Africa, and most people would agree with that. And then as soon as you go across the Sinai Peninsula, you get across to what would be included as Asia, well, on the Saudi Arabian plate and the Asian plate. Okay. Now, a bigger debate is where does Europe finish and Asia start? Okay. So Turkey is very much a country of two halves. Most people would say that this side of Turkey here has a lot to do with like Cyprus and Bulgaria and Greece, and culturally is also very similar to this region. So we would say this is very much European. But then this side of Turkey over here is borderline Asian. We've got Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Iran on the borders, and and Syria. So we'd say, oh, this side of Turkey is very Asian. So Turkey is a country on the border of continents. And I wouldn't say Turkey is in Europe or Turkey is in Asia. It's just, it's on the border. And the same, the biggest elephant in the room is Russia, where the border comes over here. And you may say that these bits of Russia here, especially with St. Petersburg up here, you would say this is definitely Europe. But as we go further this way, we would say this is all definitely Asia. And culturally, ethnically, everything changes as you go east across Russia. So Russia is a country that is across two continents. So you cannot say each country is definitely in a continent. There are always going to be ones on the periphery. And the one major sticking point that people always get to people is we have South America as a continent and we have North America as a continent. And we would say United States and Canada are North America, and Mexico technically is also North America. Okay. However, culturally, it's more similar to Central America with Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. But then, so do we say these countries, they're not their own continent? Central America is not a continent, so is it part of North America, or is it part of South America? And geologically, we can see the plate boundary here. Geologically, it's more part of the North American continent. Therefore, these are all North American countries, including Cuba and Haiti and Jamaica, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. But it doesn't. There's no political boundary there. It doesn't matter whether we say that's North American or South America. Okay. And just as another point here, we have Greenland. And Greenland is the largest island on the world, on the planet, because it is part of the North American continent, but it's not its own continent. Okay, so you can see here these shallow areas of the sea. It's all part of the same continent. If I was to spin around and go to Australia, which some people say is the biggest island, Australia is its own continent. Okay, therefore it is not an island, and that does not matter to many people.